Hello everyone, it's Chelsea Face again. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. I am currently on my Thanksgiving break. I had Thursday through Sunday off, so it's been a nice weekend. Today is Saturday when I'm filming this. I have myself a nice hot cup of coffee that I'm working on, as you can see. And this is gonna be a very long wrap up reading log because I've got quite a stack of books and manga here that I read this month. So I hope you guys are very excited. I know I am. Grab yourself a drink or a snack and cozy up and let's just get into it. First, I have Crossplay Love Otaku X Punk. This is volume 8 and the story and art are by Toru. This is a 7 Seas novel and it's such a good series, y'all. Like, I keep praising this one and you've heard me talk about it over and over, but in reality, if you're looking for something that is just a fun comedy that isn't super serious but involves a lot of cross-dressing and a lot of confusion and hijinks, this is a very fun series. It's very lighthearted. There is a few moments that are very serious as far as like people's family dynamics go, but overall it's not going to be too crazy if you pick this up. It's not going to be too heart-wrenching. I'm very excited to continue reading this one. I've already got the next volume on my TBR shelf ready to go, but I really want people to pick this up. It's a fun read. Next up, I read, based off of a recommendation from Bizarre Individual. If you have not checked out their channel, please do. I will put a link in the description where to check them out. But this is Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard by Yu Toyota. This is an adult novel. It's already got all the ratings on it by Square Enix, and it's a lot bigger than I thought. This is one of the larger trim sizes. I thought this was going to be regular, so I was a little surprised. I wasn't originally ever going to pick this up just because, I don't know, it just didn't call me whenever people would talk about it. I've not been reading a ton of BL, but I am getting more into it because I'm trying to find things that fit me more so than are just whatever is published. I have read some that I'm just not into, but this is very nice quality. I don't like how it's curling though. That's my only real complaint, but the print quality, it's on really nice paper, not like the traditional like newsprint kind of paper. But it's a story about this guy who turns 30, which is not really that old, honestly. He gets the power to read people's minds if he touches them because he's a virgin and he dies at age 30. So that's like, he becomes has that power. So it's kind of silly, but it leads to some very funny interactions and very awkward moments, and he runs into this guy that he works with who is like the hot shot of the office and touches him on accident and hears that he likes him. So of course that's going to lead to some crazy things. I think this is going to be really good and sweet and smexy, of course, but I like the first volume, so I will continue the series. If you can get it not full price, I highly recommend you do so. Crunchyroll has fairly decent prices on those. Next up, I read volume 3 of My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999 by Mashiro. And I've heard recently that the creator has started making more of the series again. I think they went on hiatus due to health, I believe. I don't really follow that as much, and if it pops up on my Twitter or my Blue Sky account, I will see it. So I think that's what happened. I'm really excited to continue reading this. It's so good. This was a great volume. I love the anime. Right now we're still in line with what the anime was doing. It ends with her being sick. So if you remember that portion of the anime, it's a great section. It really starts to show Yamada and his personality really starting to open up to her, and it's just a really fun series and I can't wait to keep reading it. Next up, I have a spicy volume, so if you're not an adult, this is not for you. Again, this is Fire in His Fingertips, volume 5. If you are a follower of this series, you know that this volume in particular was delayed over and over. Every time I went to look at the page where I pre-order it, it just kept pushing it back and kept pushing it back, and I just got annoyed and I almost just thought they were never going to do it. But eventually I just saw it in someone's haul and I was like, oh crap, it actually exists. So I went and updated my pre-order info. I finally got it. So it's really exciting to finally have this one in my hands. Someone said it wasn't censored, so that's exciting too, because if you didn't know, the first 3 were uncensored. and it was wonderful. We loved it. And then the fourth one had like weird censoring going on for some reason, and it's like, why would you not start it that way from the beginning, or why would you do that on the fourth volume? But this one is not. So I don't know if there was like a publishing issue or a imprint issue, because this is still technically under Ghost Ship and not Steamship, and this was kind of coming out in the middle of Steamship becoming an actual imprint of Seven Seas. So I think that's probably why that happened, but I am not a affiliate or a employee of Seven Seas, obviously, so I don't know all the ins and outs of that. It's really, really good. I can't say that it's like the most amazing story in the world. It's just about this girl who, she has this childhood friend who is the guy here, and he saves her from a fire one day, and they end up becoming a thing, and lots of smexy times go on. It's really cute, but also very much forward with the smexy stuff. So next up, I read a very anticipated 3-in-1 from Shoujo Beat, who printed this after they asked people what they wanted reprinted. So this is Red River, Chi Shinohara. I, like everyone else who had never read this, had been very excited to give this series a try, and I'm very happy to say that I enjoyed this. I will be continuing it. I kind of wish I had taken breaks in between each volume in this, because I read so much of it all together, and the first volume was really slow. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had just picked that up by itself, I might not be interested in continuing it. But the fact that I did have this in a 3-in-1 made me continue it, which I usually give series at least 2 volumes before I can it or keep it. I like this a lot. This was good. I think that if you're into fantasy, if you're into historical, if you're into shoujo in general, like, this was just really good, well-rounded so far. I think that you really wouldn't be disappointed unless you just want straight romance. Like, this has some in it, but I don't think it's gonna have that as the main plot point. But if that's the only thing you like in shoujo, then maybe this isn't for you. But if you like everything else about shoujo, like the darkness, the drama, ugh, I can't talk today. It's just beautiful, and the artwork is stunning. The more I read it, the more I'm in love with the way they draw our main character, Yuri, and I just really like it. It's kind of an isekai, pretty much. It was a good time. I can't wait to pick up the next one, and I'm so proud that we finally get to read this. It's almost like a dream come true for so many people, and I'm happy that I finally got to read it as well. Now if we can only get Basara. Next up, I have a volume that is a one-shot, and in my last video where I hauled this, you guys will see, I think I talked about how it was a series, and I'm so disappointed to say that I found out it's not a series. It is a standalone. I didn't even notice when I bought this that it doesn't have a 1 on it anywhere, not on the spine, not on the cover. So it is a one-shot, but it was so good. This is Home Office Romance by Kentetsu Yamada, the person who created Sweat and Soap, if you're not familiar. I follow them on Twitter and Blue Sky, and for months and months and months they were talking about making this series and publishing it in Japan and all of the things they were working on with it. So I saw so much art, so much research being done through the crappy Google Translate on the app, but it was so fun to watch the process of this manga becoming reality. But I didn't know it wasn't a series, so I was a little sad to see that, but it's so good, y'all. Like, I am obsessed with this mangaka's work now. Anything they publish, I think I'm going to have to pick up, because the romances are just so real to me. Like, they feel authentic, almost like she's literally lived them as they've happened, and I just appreciate that. I appreciate the realness and how everything isn't cupcakes and roses all the time, and the things that are bad they handle healthfully in every series so far that I've read. And this one was short and sweet, but it still showed a lot of that inspiration I feel throughout it. And we're kind of given through the guy's perspective on this one this time. He's kind of telling you something that happened after the fact of how he met this woman. And it's so good. If you're looking for a short and sweet little romance that is full of laughter, I laughed a lot reading this. It was so funny. I highly recommend it. It's only $13.99, and to me, getting anything from this creator is worth any price, personally. That's just my opinion. Next up, I read 3 volumes of Dandadan, 7, 8, and 9. That's currently all that we have out at our physical bookstore. We went yesterday, and I have another haul to upload, so that's 2 hauls before this video has been filmed, that I have not even edited yet. I'm a little behind, but I've got a lot of content coming, so get excited. But 7, 8, 9, very gorgeous volumes as always. This is 7. The front has the silky and everything on it. Volume 8. And volume 9, which has a new guy on it. I was a little anxious to see what he was going to be about. This series is sci-fi meets hilarity meets a little bit of romance, and I love it. Me and my husband both are obsessed. We watch every episode of the anime that comes out. We're very, very excited that anime onlys are going to get to experience this series. And I know that if you are an anime only, you're probably not watching my channel, but if you're curious about the series, probably watch a couple episodes before you give in or give up on it, because it has a couple of shady moments. But I promise you, the overall story is totally worth the weirdness that you get in a couple of episodes. Like, I swear to God, it's just phenomenal. Like, I'm not a huge shonen fan. I do read a lot of shonen, but it's not my favorite genre or demographic, whichever you prefer to call it. And this one is so unique that I have to recommend it above almost all. I'm not sure what my favorite shonen is, but this is pretty good. Next up, I read volume 13 of Komi Can't Communicate. This is one of my favorite series ongoing right now, and I'm pretty behind, as you can tell. I would have picked up more of this yesterday, but they didn't have the volumes I needed, so I'm just gonna have to order them online, I guess. But this series is about a girl named Komi who has trouble communicating, and she wants to make 100 friends, and so she sets out to do that, and she's got a wonderful group of small friends that help her begin that journey. And this volume was more focused around this little girl here who is like her cousin or something that gets dropped off with them while her mom is traveling, doing something for work or whatever. And it's about them two finding a friendship in each other with their problems, like the things that they struggle with on a day-to-day basis. And it was really cute. I think that there's a lot to say about a shonen that has so much feeling and communication about personality problems and mental health and insecurities, but for it to be a shonen is very interesting to me. It's really good. I enjoy this a lot. Next up, I read a BL. I am getting into more BL lately. My husband picked this out a few months ago. You saw that in the haul if you watched it. This is Monotone Blue, story and art by Nagabe. This is a one-shot and it's gorgeous. I really enjoyed this. I kind of wish that we had gotten like 3 volumes of this, like a short series, because the art is really good. It's kind of sketchy, like one of my favorite kinds of art styles. I like when manga art is a little more hand-drawn looking than completely computer generated. It's beautiful, and it's about this cat guy who, he's not the perfect person. Like, he's really not a great guy. And then this reptile guy who is really shy, has a lot of trauma and self-doubt, and them two falling for each other and accepting each other for who they are and wanting to be together. And it has a lot of bad things that happen in this, or things that have happened in the past to our reptile guy, but it's really cute. And I think that if you enjoy BL, this is a larger print, so it's really nice. The art's gorgeous. You should check this out. I did have like a misconception about the coloring. I thought there was going to be blue in this on his tail, because it talks about how his tail is blue, but there's not. It's all black and white. I'm a little disappointed in that, but you know, that was just me being misinformed. I think I misheard that somewhere, but either way, this was really good. I highly recommend it. Trigger warnings for bullying though, and I mean, I guess it was assault technically, but yeah, it was. So be aware if you're someone who has that trigger. There's a little bit of that in here. It's kind of off camera, but, or off page, I keep saying off camera, but it is implied that there was an assault and abuse and things like that. So just be aware before you pick it up, but it is really good, and I think it had a good message overall. Next up is another BL. It is Sasaki Miyano Volume 6 by Sho Harusono. This is the one where they finally, I don't want to spoil it, but this is the volume where it's the highest rated out of all of them that I've seen, so I think that says a lot about it. They kind of already start really telling each other how they feel about each other, so I really like this one. Once again, my only real complaint about the series is the thinness of it versus the price. The artwork on the covers are always very cute, so I can't be too mad, honestly. I just always am gonna complain about the price of manga because I'm cheap. That's just how I am. But the artwork in this is really great. I think that the creator puts a lot of work into their backgrounds when they do draw backgrounds. And lately I've noticed that a lot of mangaka in the newer age of manga creation aren't doing backgrounds like they used to. It used to be like that was a huge part of the artwork, was the background, and now it's like you've got your two main characters in the frame and then the background is just kind of like a plain white, or it's got like a shading on it. And I understand why they do that, but at the same time sometimes it just kind of cheapens what I'm reading, and I do miss that. But this one, they do a lot better job with the backgrounds. You still get a lot of that blank paneling behind them, but they do still draw like the school setting and trees and the skyline and the train windows and things like that. So I think that it really helps with the setting when you see things like that. Next up, I read volume 12 of Waiting for Spring by Anashin. This series is great. I've been really loving it. I've only got 2 volumes left. One of them is on my shelf and the other one I have not purchased yet, but I will be soon. It's fun. It's just a basketball shoujo romance, I believe. And it's about this girl falls in love with this guy, he falls in love with her, and there's some basketball friends and stuff, and it's cute. It's not like the most unique shonen, I keep saying shonen, the most unique shoujo romance I've ever read, but it is fun and I am going to finish it and keep it in my collection. The spines are all gorgeously rainbow. I think you can see them somewhere back here. Yeah, they're right over here. These nice little pastel rainbows look great on your shelf. So I do recommend it if you like sports, which I don't typically love sports, but if you like sports and if you like romance, this is a good one. All right, the last manga that I read this month, I have 3 books also after this, is You and I Are Polar Opposites, story and art by Kocha Agasawa. This is a new series and it's a shonen under the Shonen Jump print, and it's just about this girl and this guy, and she's in love with him and he likes her, and he's real quiet and reserved but funny, and she's like a gyaru, like real crazy out there, very flamboyantly loud and lavish with her personality and her style, and I love that. It's so cute, and even in this first volume I'm already hooked. I am very interested in continuing the series. The artwork's a little different than what I'm used to. It feels a little more comic-y than manga. It's so cute. It's a sweet one. I think that if you like a little sweet shonen romance, you'll like this one. Okay, if you were only here for the manga, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. But if you would like to see the 3 books that I read this month, or that I'm going to talk about this month, only one of them I didn't read, but I'm going to tell you why. I will see you in the next video. But if you want to see these books, stick around. The first one is the one that I didn't technically read this month, but I did receive it and I wanted to talk about it because it's so gorgeous. You guys know that I have a friend who I mentioned published a book, and I have the first 2 of their series. This is a bind up special edition, tandem read edition of both books with a preview of the 3rd book with a fancy printed cover. This is so gorgeous, you guys. R.H. Linehan, The Ovori Chronicles, Tandem Read Edition, Book 1 and Book 2. Look at this artwork. One of the characters with a wolf, and if you didn't know, this series has wolves in it, like large, mythical, magical wolves. And I was gifted this copy for doing them a favor, and I also have designed some artwork in this book. Just the chapter headers for a couple. Not much. But this edition not only has the cute little chapter headers that I designed and also some that the writer designed, it has a gorgeous little map here along with several pages of actual artwork that this author has commissioned people to create involving characters in the story. So this took a lot of work and I wanted you guys to know about it. Sorry, I've been coughing, but this is really good. I highly recommend picking it up. I will put the link for it in the description below if you're interested. This is a good edition to read because the first book is just one story. The second book are short stories that you can interspice into the first book. This one puts them together in order, so you can pick this one up and get the whole story in order that it happened. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. Next up, I read, and I've already destroyed my copy. I dropped it in the bathtub because I'm stupid, but it dried out, so I'm gonna keep it. Is To Be Devoured by Sarah Tantlinger. You guys, this might be the grossest thing I've ever read, and I read a lot of horror, and a lot of thrillers and a lot of messed up stuff. This was disgusting. It's only 83 pages. And if you like super, super gross horror manga, check it out. If you are on the fence about grossness, I don't think you should read this. Honestly, I don't know if I regret reading it. There were things that I will never forget about this. Just to give you a very brief synopsis, because I don't want to spoil it. With a book this short, it's super easy to spoil. But there's this woman who's going to therapy, and she has a lot of trauma. Like a lot of trauma from things that happened in her past. Struggling with a lot of mental health issues. And she's not married, but she's got a partner, and they're living together. And she's in love with her partner. And the partner is very supportive and tries to help her get through all of her issues and make sure she's going to therapy. The main character slowly descends into madness, and it's crazy gross but interesting. If you are triggered by cannibalism, if you're triggered by minor cannibalism or blood or guts or anything decaying and mutilated and animals killed, like this has almost everything in it, so just be aware of that. But as you can see, my dumb butt dropped it in the bathtub, so it got real wet. Luckily I can still read it and it's not sticking together, but don't be like me, don't drop it in the bathtub. And the last book that I read this month was The Employees by Olga Raven. Guys, I'm not sure what this was. If I'm being honest with you, it intrigued me at the bookstore, my local bookstore, because of all the little weird lines of text on the back when you're reading the synopsis and lines are blacked out. It looks like a government text, but with things redacted and stuff. And the cover is really interesting. I love this cover. I think that says a lot about what this book could be. And I'll be honest, I read the synopsis like months ago before I picked this up, and I forgot what it said, and then I came back and bought the book without remembering what this book is about. And so when I started reading it, I was so confused. And if you're gonna read this, which it is interesting, I do recommend it, read the synopsis before you pick it up. Like, I mean immediately before you pick it up, because if you don't know what's happening, I think that this wouldn't be enjoyable. Because at first I was very confused reading about a third of the book, and I was like, I need to read the synopsis to make sure I'm not confused. And yes, I was very confused, and that made a lot more sense. So the synopsis is very needed to enjoy the book, I believe. But this is essentially a very short book about this crew who are on this very large spaceship. I think that the Earth has reached a point to where they're trying to find another planet that's livable, or it's either uninhabitable. I don't know which. It doesn't give a lot of details here, but you're reading people's logs that they're being interviewed or interrogated on the ship, and how they're dealing with being on this ship for so long. There's different people who say the Earth is in this condition, that they don't know if it's still there, blah, blah, blah. So we don't really know the status of the Earth, and we know that some of these people came from Earth, some of these people were born on the ship, some of these people want to go back to Earth, but there's a lot of human looking, like almost undecipherable human robots. And you're interviewing robots and people, workers, and it's very interesting. You're watching some of these people who are like happy to be there. You're reading about some of these people who are dying to get off of it, who want to die, people who want to kill other people, robots included, and people who want to be with the robots romantically. And there's these objects that they picked up from this planet that they set inside this room, and some people are obsessed with those objects and some people are drawn away from those objects. It's really strange. I liked it, but I could see this not being the most popular book out there. But if you're into weird, spacey, character-driven stories, this is just interviewing different people. So I think that you would like this. It's so weird though, so weird. Anyways, you guys, that's all of the books minus the tandem read. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna pick that up because it's super heavy. But these are all of the books that I read in November. I hope you guys have been reading a lot and enjoying what you're reading. I really loved this reading month. I read so many good things, tried so many new series, and I can't wait to continue into December and see what that brings me. I've got a lot of good manga on my shelf that needs to be read. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.